Hello and welcome to today's webinar, CTV, the Under-Leveraged Channel for Growth. My name is Ricky Bijlani. I am the Senior Director of Marketing here at AUDIENCEX. I just want to thank you all for taking a bit out of your time today to joining us. I'm going to give this just a couple more minutes to let people finish joining us. And while I do, I'll go over a couple quick notes before we get started. First, we'll indeed be sending recording of this webinar to all the registrants afterwards, so everyone can keep a lookout for that soon. Additionally, we'll be taking some time to answer any questions that you may have at the end of today's presentation. So if you do have any, go ahead and submit them at any time via the Zoom's Q&A feature right at the bottom of the interface. So today we'll take a closer look at connected TV's continued evolution, discuss how brands and agencies of all sizes can get started on the channel, and explore how CTV can fit effectively in a holistic omnichannel advertising strategy. Here to guide us through a bit of that today, I am pleased to introduce our presenter from AUDIENCEX, Danielle Gale, who is our VP of Strategy and Partnership Solutions. Danny, thank you very much for being here today and hosting this discussion. I know it's going to be great. So with that, I'm delighted to go ahead and hand the show off to you. If you can briefly introduce yourself, including your role and background.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today, especially ahead of a big holiday week next week. We really appreciate you guys taking your time to kind of dive into this subject together. So I'm Danny, as our team mentioned. So I lead our strategy team at AUDIENCEX. AUDIENCEX, for those who don't know, we are a hybrid agency and omni-channel trading desk. So we have access to some of the world's largest kind of programmatic and social and search platforms, and we execute media planning and strategy and buying for a number of clients. I've been with the agency for 2 years now and really kind of diving into the CTV landscape, how it's changed, of course, over the years and kind of what we're doing for clients. So today, I just want to share kind of the CTV landscape in terms of just growth opportunity, especially if you're joining us with a growth mindset. I think this is going to be super valuable for you today because we really view CTV as an integrated performance channel for both growth marketers looking to kind of do user acquisition and also for growth marketers looking to get access to brand awareness, especially on a channel that traditionally used to be very hard to access. And then we're going to also talk about just getting started, some of the basics to kind of consider, especially as you use CTV as part of your overall omni-channel growth strategy. And then towards the end, we're going to save some questions and open it up to the audience. I do have to just call out, I know we have this scheduled for an hour, but hopefully today we're going to try to wrap up and keep it short, give you guys 30 minutes extra time of your day. So let's get started. So really kind of understanding CTV, I really coin it as the hot new channel, especially for the growth and performance mindsets. The reasons why we look at CTV kind of with a growth background is because for the first time now on a large screen, we're able to measure results without the concern of privacy. So if you're in digital media, as we all are, we know our industry is getting hounded about zero free party data, really protecting consumers' rights, and et cetera. So a lot of platforms are scaling back on their access to measurement and users. But the best thing is that your TV screens never even had a device. They connect through your home Wi-Fi or your internet protocol, the IP address. So it's a really safe thing to use, especially from a privacy standpoint. Also with CTV, we get real-time insights and actionable data to use across all of our campaigns. Because it's digitally connected to the internet, we see in real time how audiences are viewing your content and then how they're going to other devices to take an action. Also, what we love about CTV is that you could actually increase more people without increasing the cost. So you get to reach almost a whole family watching a show or catching up on the latest kind of hot, fun movies online. You could reach a whole family in kind of one ad viewing instead of that one-to-one individual view that you get in a digital kind of online environment. Also with CTV, what we love and probably is the most important is that it unlocks higher brand recall and awareness. This is super important for kind of growth and kind of mid-market brands that are looking to, really get their customers to engage with them and really understand what they're all about as a brand. CTV is a really effective way to do so without having to pay the heavy upfronts of linear TV or radio or kind of more traditional out-of-home placements. And then again, why we love CTV and why it's so much getting attraction is because you can connect to the right audiences. So again, CTV, because it is digital internet based, we could still layer in a lot of cool first party, second party, and third party data to make sure we are only speaking to the right people at the right time. So let's break this down a bit. So as you guys know, CTV is booming. But the biggest thing in terms of, the growth of CTV is the actual adoption rate and market size. So according to some research by Samsung, streaming TV was as popular as linear TV back in 2019, but actually a year after the pandemic, streaming has grown and accounted for 63% of the total TV viewing time. That means now looking today at 2022 numbers, if users are looking to watch TV, 56% of the population are actually streaming it digitally, either on their connected devices, through their TV, their smartphones, or laptop devices. Only 26% of people in the US population actually watch TV through cable TV or linear TV means. So that is one fourth of the population still doing linear and kind of traditional methods. And then we see about 9% even watching TV through actual DVDs or VHS or kind of very old traditional analog means through Blu-rays. And really what we see is that, of course, we know this cord cutter kind of trend was coming. And yes, still a lot of people are watching kind of linear programs for sports. But we even hear that the Netflix CEO, Reed Hastings, believed that linear TV is going to completely die out in the next 5 to 10 years' time. So if you aren't thinking about CTV, now is the time to do so because you're at the forefront of this major shift in the last 2 years. In addition to just kind of the growth of CTV and how people are cut cording, we wanted to also share just exactly what channel and by what device are they streaming TV content. So we found that actually 50% of people that are streaming content, they're actually watching it on a larger TV screen, which what we call connected TV. Now, a lot of other users, around 24%, are using some other external smart device. 11% are still viewing content on their mobile devices, while 9 and 6% are actually watching shows on Hulu, on laptop computers, or even video gaming consoles. So in the vast mix of OTT over the top, really where we see a lot of audiences viewing content is the larger, bigger screens. In terms of just how they watch, we wanted to ask and kind of figure out just how many ad-supported streaming services do consumers use. Research has shown that 80% of CTV viewers actually watch ad-supported content. So taken together with at least one service or two service, about 91% of consumers who watch streaming content use at least one ad-supported service. So this means there's a mass opportunity to go out and reach consumers as they're on these bigger screens, watching their favorite shows online. And it's now becoming a part of everyday life using ad-supported services. A lot of talk in the industry around CTV has been going towards ad-free content, meaning the Netflix, the paid for ad-free content on Hulu, or even paid ad-free on YouTube. But what we actually find is that in order to get all of the programs that users want today, they at least need one or at least two ad-supported services because they're not going to be willing to pay a subscription for everything in market. So this means by one of the various platforms, whether it's a Disney Plus, whether it's Apple TV, whether it's Peacock or even Pluto TV, you have a chance to reach this audience at mass scale, those watching shows online and streaming that content. We also believe that CTV is such a big winner for brand marketers in terms of planning and media buying is because the actual brand recall and awareness is higher across TV streaming than any other ad format online. So we asked respondents in a big survey from TV Scientific, just what type of ads do consumers remember the most? About 32% of the audience responded that ads shown on social media is what they recall, versus 9% of ads on website, versus 45% ads on streaming TV, versus just 9% on mobile devices. So TV and streaming ads remain the most powerful ad format when it comes to brand recall and affinity. Again, you're on a larger screen, you're connecting to users in their downtime where they're less distracted in their day-to-day. And now for the first time, CTV is marrying the power of TV with precision performance marketers now in the digital age. So really using the data we get access to in a digital environment, we can now layer that into kind of more of this traditional TV buy that is now on our connected and smart TVs, and it has the highest ad recall. The other great thing about CTV is that consumers are actually multitasking. So while they're watching kind of in their downtime a show on Hulu, or they're watching kind of, sports content, they're actually interacting with their smartphone devices. And we see that when users see an ad that's really relevant to them through personalization and through data layering, they're actually more likely to take an action through their smart device while the CTV ad is playing up to an hour after they were exposed. So in the US, we actually found in 2022 or in 2020 that around 190 million people logged onto the internet on a phone, tablet, or computer while watching TV. This is a huge audience, and most consumers actually use their digital devices to engage deeper with the content on their TV. So whether they're watching a show, looking at Twitter, seeing the live reactions, or chatting with friends on social media, they're definitely engaged while viewing content. And this is 1.5 times the number of consumers who claim that they've actually purchased products on ads shown on Google search results. So looking at the comparison between Google search and ads shown on connected TV, a consumer is 1.5 times likely to convert from that CTV ad on their mobile device than they would then seeing a Google search campaign. So overall, the big key takeaway here is that at least 78% of the population use a mobile device while watching TV. Of these consumers, 32% of them actually bought a product after seeing a TV or streaming service. And then 31% of consumers watching TV actually use that device to research about the products they've just seen. So these are really great figures because of that multitasking power of CTV. The other thing we love about CTV is the ability for measurement and attribution. Because, CTV is using things like individual households or IP addresses, it means that we could use a one-to-one model to really attribute someone who's seen a CTV ad to them who has gone onto a brand's website and made a conversion. What we do is we take the IP address, and the DSP we're running the campaigns in actually matches this IP address with a separate device graph with cookies. So we're able to match the IP to individual cookie level to see that attribution of someone seeing an ad and then going on to the internet and then making a conversion. And so while we see people, kind of go throughout their devices throughout their day, especially on CTV, they're definitely using their mobile devices, logged on to the same household network, and we could even track them through the same IP addresses. Some key takeaways, TVs are everywhere. Approximately 80% of all households own a connected TV device. So this means a huge opportunity to get extra scale, especially if you're a performance marketer trying to reach new people. If you've maxed out frequency on Facebook, CTV is a great new channel to kind of reach new audiences. Of course, streaming is king. Don't forget that 56% of audience actually stream their content digitally, as opposed to only 26% who watch on cable linear means. CTV is also very performance driven because it still relies on the same data that kind of digital marketers use in terms of first party, third party, second party, lookalike retargeting, etc. So we could still execute the same campaign strategies in other programmatic channels as we can with CTV. And then, of course, ads on ads on ads. Consumers really love ads when it comes to watching TV. They love them so much that they continue to pay for ad-supported content instead of paying for subscription services that remove ads. And at least out of all the different subscription services, we find that 49% of consumers are gladly willing to embrace ads in exchange for content that they could get for free instead of subscribing to another platform. And again, the biggest thing to it with CTV is that there's so many fun new ad formats, all the way from interactive to pause ads to binge ads and even shoppable ads. We're going to learn that more a bit next as we kind of move down through the deck. But really, this is a great place for A/B testing and really understanding the different creative nuances within this kind of more traditional TV mindset. So now we're going to shift gears. We kind of understand the landscape of CTV. It's enormous. It's having a big shift right now as cord cutters continue to happen. But really, how do you get started? So the industry is a bit convoluted in that it could be quite confusing in understanding the different means how users are connecting to watch shows. So we've created this really easy kind of diagram to help you guys digest the difference between advanced addressable TV all the way down to connected TV versus traditional means. So what we have under the roof of advanced TV is really an umbrella for all different TV formats outside of traditional linear TV buying. Under this umbrella, we see kind of two ways to buy TV, which is addressable versus programmatic. So addressable TV is still on a direct by direct basis in which you could layer specific audience data through set-top boxes purchased in advance of airing. So if you want to be within a specific program on NBC and you want to align your ad and content with a specific show based on data about your audience and how they view, you can do this through addressable means. If you're less concerned about spot buys, you could look at the broader landscape of programmatic TV. And this is the automated buying we're talking about today, where connected TV falls under. So under programmatic TV, we have something called over the top or OTT. This is a wide arching umbrella that encompasses both CTV and other digital TV watching. Whether you're watching on a mobile device or desktop, you could think of it layering up into OTT or over the top. Now, when we say connected TV, really we're only talking about TV screens and nothing else. Also within connected TV, there is a chance that a user is actually watching through their PlayStation console, but they're still watching it on their TV device. It gets a bit confusing with all the ways users could connect, but really our focus today here is connected TV and how this layers up into overall OTT. Now, linear TV is still the traditional means of how you buy traditional TV. It's through a set-top box in which you use cable or satellite to actually deliver the TV channels. Now, the one interesting thing about linear TV is that it's been decreasing over time as brands shift their dollars to more connected and programmatic channels, which is awesome. And it also means that linear TV is becoming more cost effective. So here at AUDIENCEX, we work with partners like Tatari that help marry the two of how do you run a connected TV campaign, but then extend your audience to those watching in a linear point of view. And the best thing, and the one thing you could take away from here is when you do audience extension on linear TV, the CPMs are as low as $4. So it's become very effective to kind of marry the two options together. We'll discuss this more in some of the tips and tricks in terms of setting up a programmatic connected TV campaign. Outside of this, we also wanted to spend some time on the different means of TV content. So when you hear kind of people say video on demand or subscription on demand, really we're talking about the Hulus, the Amazon videos, the YouTube TV Plus, everything that is paid for through a subscription. Video on demand, you'll get a lot of original content, but usually the user has to pay for some sort of subscription. We're seeing a lot of subscription models actually encompass ad-supported options and payments. So Hulu, as you know, has 3 tiers of payments, a completely ad-free experience, which is their tier 1. And then they have access to other kind of normal TV channels connecting through actual like a live MVPD. And then they also have an option for just ad-free content at their lowest tier. So really it gets a bit confusing because there's many ways to watch content, but when you're thinking of CTV, we're usually running around kind of the video on demand. So really when you think of your end consumer, they're going to be watching the Hulu with some ad breaks or Amazon Video or even YouTube. So the first recommendation getting started is always, again, looking at the CTV creative. So CTV ads, of course, make the most out of video. And what we recommend is that brands and marketers play around with some animation and live action content. We also suggest A/B testing links on CTV. CTV is great. It's one of the only kind of channels you could also really adhere to multiple lengths, just like YouTube. So you could even run shorter than 15-second spots or 30 seconds or longer minute-long videos. We suggest testing whether 30 seconds is going to be your sweet spot or 15 seconds, and definitely have multiple different variants so we could do sequential targeting. We also suggest having sure the videos are edge-to-edge videos. So again, a lot of people coming into CTV, they'll repurpose videos that they have on mobile or TikTok in the vertical format. But if you play that on a bigger TV screen, you're going to get the ugly, kind of nasty black bars to the side. So really, when you're thinking TV, think horizontal, think landscape, and think edge-to-edge. And then, of course, production quality is going to be super, super important. Even when we see a lot of brand marketers kind of put over their mobile and kind of Facebook videos onto a bigger connected TV buy, the quality of the actual production needs to be the highest quality because you're paying for a bigger screen. So really taking this all into account, these are just some best practices. Also, CTV ads can't really be skipped. So it's super important that throughout the full 30 seconds or 15 seconds, you have the highest production quality within your video. In addition to the creative, because people are multitasking on CTV, the biggest things you need to do is tell the audience what you do, tell them who you are, and then tell them where to go and what to do. You really want to create action within your CTV campaigns and really get the user to shop now or visit a website or kind of do an action, because CTV is geared for performance. Yes, it's TV, it's on TV screens, it's good for brand awareness, but because of the multitasking aspect is that you could actually use CTV to tell a consumer to actually order you on Deliveroo, or actually sign up to a website and take advantage of a 20% off coupon. So really having a big splashy call to action and really consistent, really easy URLs make it really effective for people to kind of see a 15-second spot and quickly get on their mobile device and kind of learn more about the brand. In terms of innovative formats, we actually see really cool new tech happening within kind of the actual formats themselves. So we wanted to pull some suggestions from our partner with Peacock and kind of just share the different formats they're playing with. This is just one platform, one publisher's example. There's a ton to explore outside of this with Hulu, even our own ad creative rich media. We could definitely layer in a lot more, but I just wanted to share some of our favorites. So one that we have here is a pause ad. Now, I purposely put in the minimum spend because some of these interactive formats are quite high and quite expensive. So Peacock's pause ads are really, really cool. When a user is watching a show and they pause their show to maybe get a glass of water or kind of take a break, maybe something happened, the doorbell rang, an actual ad placement comes up. So you actually get to kind of capture that user before they go off and get interrupted, and they get onus 100% share of voice on the screen for however long you're pausing an ad. Some of my favorite brands doing this right now is definitely more in the beverage and CPG space. I've been given a lot of pause ads, especially from beverages, PepsiCo, etc. So when you're pausing, I definitely want to see a Pepsi ad and then be reminded to go to my fridge, crack open a Pepsi, and continue watching my show. The other cool ads that they play around is the Spotlight ad. So the Spotlight ad is an exclusive video stunt that lets your own brand own the first ad impression across all devices within a 24-hour span. So really, anyone connecting to Peacock, going online for a 24-hour window, every time they go on to watch a new channel or a new station, your ad is the first to play. And usually the first ad is the most memorable, especially if there's only 2 or 3 that come right after. So you could specifically do a Spotlight ad buy, and this is about a 15% premium. There's no minimum cost for this, but this gets you more mass reach and scaled messaging and stronger brand identity against this audience. And then another one of my favorite ads are these cool new fun engagement ads. So again, with CTV, because it's so digitally based, you could make the ads actually very interactive, especially as users are using their connected remotes to interact with their CTV. A lot of brands are playing with multiple content and scroll ads through CTV, also using things like QR codes and even trivia as they see an ad come up. So these are really, really fun. And for even more retail and e-commerce focused brands, you could even make it shoppable. So you could go through different products shown in the ad and actually make a purchase right then and there.
This is the Peacock Spotlight
Showing
ad.
some examples.
It gives your brand the first ad break during a chosen time. So no matter what viewers are watching, the majority of users will see your ad as their first ad.
Right. Next ones are binge ads. So these are exclusive ads that allow user to then enjoy ad-free content and through a whole binge session of a whole season. So again, or a first episode. The binge ads purpose is to really kind of gain favorability within consumers. As they're watching content, they see a binge ad and then they get kind of ad-free content for the next episode or whole next season, which is awesome. So the consumer falls in love with the brand and almost thanks them for giving them this ad-free opportunity. The final ad example we'll share is the curator ad. This really integrates your ad into more of a collection of best titles across kind of the library of content. So as users are browsing through on Peacock, you could actually have your ad kind of in the background and have it very aligned as people spend a lot of time not only viewing actual TV content, but actually deciding on what to watch. So Peacock has made sure there is still some brand identity within kind of this user journey and user behavior flow. I'm going to quickly hurry up because I know we're at time at 11:30, but I also just wanted to share some of the targeting best practices that you may know of already, but to definitely use for your CTV campaigns. The best thing with CTV, you get to use your own first-party data. So again, if that means retargeting people who previously been to your site, or actually retargeting your current customers and loyal customers to make a repeat purchase, you could implement that at the DSP level. You could also use third-party audience data. So really honing in on audiences that are going to be the right fit for your brand based on their shopping behavior, based on their content behavior, based on what they do online. We could specifically target people in market for your product. Also, category targeting. So we don't see a lot of marketers do this, but category targeting is so effective because it's the new kind of contextual targeting for CTV. We run with a lot of clients that have very specific products that are really only geared for sci-fi lovers or drama lovers or even fantasy lovers. So really aligning with your content to the right type of shows is a really effective way to make sure we're reaching the right people. And then of course with CTV, you could get very, very granular on the targeting. Forget the days of traditional TV buying where you had to call up local stations and kind of book spot buys. You can now do it from a programmatic point of view where you just layer in zip codes. You could even layer in geolocations around your stores and only have your TV content running throughout specific locations. The other thing too is we work with a lot of location partners that can actually tie the attribution of in-store foot traffic to the exposure of CTV ads. So we work with a partner called Foursquare, and they're kind of the one and only partner out there that could really tie together someone going into a location, whether a restaurant, whether a hobby town, whether, you know, a retail store, and they could attribute back if that user has been exposed to a CTV campaign. And then, of course, when thinking of CTV, you definitely want to think of day parting and using time and day. So again, making sure your ads run through prime time or on weekends or kind of periods where customers are going to be doing their shopping or action based on what service you sell. So again, the best thing about day and time targeting is that you could do things like really honing in on primetime viewers or actually targeting moms while they're working at home or stay-at-home moms if they're watching content in the early days. So really good, really effective. And then finally to device targeting. So we highly recommend, of course, in CTV, extending your device targeting to reach people while they're also on their mobile devices and laptop devices. You also get a bit more of an effective cost in CPM if you just layer in mobile and laptop, kind of other OTT formats besides just TV. Even if you want to reach gamers and people that are in market for gaming, even device targeting them to only reach out and speak to them while they're watching CTV on their gaming consoles is a great strategy. So quick summary, as we come to the end of our presentation, when getting started with CTV, one big takeaway is that you don't need a ton of budget. Again, you only need small budgets to start out. It's not something where you need mass scale. You could get very niche and hone in on the audience you want to test. And again, you only really need a small budget to start out with. Our next suggestion is really looking at inventory access, especially going into trade desks, looking at the different options of global deals they have, or working directly with platforms and SSPs. We have a great relationship with Magnite, and they are very unique in that they offer really performance CTV inventory, meaning that it's discounted at a very effective rate for specifically performance and growth brands. Once you kind of understand the lay of the inventory, how people are viewing different content, you then want to unlock your audience targeting with both your first-party data and any third-party data as well. And then once that's figured out, we definitely suggest aligning on your KPI, not to only think about video completion rates, VCR, but also looking at CPMs and the CPA effectively and how it's used to get people to convert. And then again, after this, you definitely want to measure the effect of CTV, whether you saw an increase in brand search volumes, if you saw an increase within a certain time where your CTV's ad ran of people coming onto the site. And then you could even do incremental testing. So again, you could do A/B split tests of different audiences and expose one audience to CTV campaigns and control the other audience and see if there's been an uplift in purchases within the exposed group. So there's a lot of fun things you could use CTV for, especially with a performance mindset. That's what we have for you today. I hope we didn't go too fast, but we'll take a quick break and kind of pause for any questions.
Yeah, thank you, Danny. So we do have a few questions, but I know we're short on time, so we'll address the first one. Do you recommend unique vanity URLs, QR codes, something like that for A/B testing, 15 and 30-second lengths?
Absolutely. As long as the URLs are short and consistent, 100%. That's a great action to see in real time, just even what users are going to what landing URLs and what pages. And especially with the use of QR codes, you immediately get that data right then and there in real time.
And then just to follow up to that one, as CTV isn't clickable, how do you necessarily test different lengths? Meaning, how do you learn which is better for your advertiser?
Yeah, definitely kind of like the previous question, you could just set up tests, especially the DSPs, because everything is attributed and kind of related back. What the DSP will decide based on that 15-second video versus 30-second video, how many people went to the website after being exposed, that 15-second versus 30-second. To do an actual A/B test, I would set up 2 different audience groups as well for those different lengths. So it's very clear you could see which audiences are coming to the site at a higher frequency, maybe at a lower cost per visit than the other audience with the other video. But you could set this up easily in most DSP platforms.
Great. Thank you, Danny, for participating, and thank you everyone for attending today's session. We'll be sending a recording of this webinar to all registrants afterwards, so everyone can look out for that soon. If you do have any questions or more questions, feel free to connect with us on social media, or website, or email.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye everyone.